The greatest danger to your life is never the enemy who stands before you, but the poison that hides behind a smile. Toxic people, manipulators, liars, parasites, they feed on your kindness and drink from your strength until nothing remains. And yet, most people make the fatal mistake of confronting them openly, and in doing so, they lose everything. But Machiavelli would never fall into such a trap. Today, I will reveal 7 cold laws for dealing with toxic people, not through emotion, not through mercy, but through strategy. The fool argues, the wise man observes. Remember this, for it is the first law when facing toxicity. These people live for conflict, for the clash of voices, for the performance of drama. The moment you confront them, you step into their arena, a battlefield they have mastered. And you do not lose through truth, but through exhaustion. They drain you piece by piece until your spirit is poisoned and your energy gone. The art of survival is not to meet them head-on, but to remain silent and still. Silence is not weakness, it is observation. The hunter does not roar before the strike. He crouches low, studies the prey, learns its movements, and waits for the perfect moment. So must you. Let the toxic ones speak, act, and reveal themselves. They cannot help it. Their insecurities, their vanity, their need for validation, all will expose them. But you must resist the urge to respond. Let them believe they hold power, while in truth you are gathering it in silence. Remember, most people fall not from weakness, but from wasting their strength on the undeserving. A toxic person thrives when you are emotional. They crave your anger, your defense, your desperate need to prove yourself. But when you remain calm, when you refuse to bite the bait, you strip them of their sharpest weapon. They expect chaos but find stillness. That silence terrifies them because they cannot manipulate what does not respond. Yet silence is not idleness. It is calculation. Every time they speak, note their weaknesses. Every time they act, mark their habits. Like a general studying an enemy camp, you observe where their guard is low, where their ego blinds them, where the mask slips. In time, they reveal their own destruction, while believing you were too timid to fight. That is the greatest deception of all. For the moment they underestimate you, you become untouchable. But silence demands patience, and patience is power. The longer you refuse to engage, the more they unravel. They expect resistance. They want the game of conflict. Deny them that battlefield, and they grow restless, reckless, careless. Then you begin to lead, not by force, but by absence. You do not fight fire with fire. You let it consume itself. And only then are you ready for the second law, the control of the battlefield. Never fight on their ground. Always on yours. Once you have mastered silence and learned to observe without exposure, you must control the terrain. Power is never neutral. It belongs to the ground you stand upon. Toxic people are strongest in chaos, in gossip, in confrontation. Their battlefield is noise, and they will try to drag you there, where they thrive while you drown. But a strategist never fights where the enemy commands the land. He shifts the fight. He changes the rules, just as ancient generals avoided valleys against cavalry, or as Machiavelli advised rulers never to battle rebellion in crowded streets. So must you pull your enemy into ground they cannot rule. Toxic people will provoke you at work, in public, before others, where manipulation works best. They will corner you in moments of anger when your emotions betray reason. Never give them that stage. Remove the audience. Take away their tools. Force every encounter to unfold where you hold control. If they shout, you speak softly and in private. If they accuse, you respond in writing, where every word is precise and permanent. If they provoke in weakness, you delay until you are composed and unshakable. Shift the terms and their weapons become useless. It is not enough to avoid their traps. You must ensure they cannot set them at all. This law is not about strength, but about design. If they want to fight in the mud, you refuse. You fight on stone where they slip. If they thrive on rumors, you counter with undeniable truth. If they provoke emotion, you answer with cold reason. And if they try to cast you as the villain, you move the battle into silence and patience, where their own mask begins to crumble beneath its weight. They may believe they are master manipulators, but manipulation survives only where it goes unchallenged. Control the environment, and you choke their influence. Yet you must be cunning. Do not reveal the shift. Do not let them see your strategy unfold. To declare your plan is to destroy its power. Instead, redirect with quiet precision, so they never realize the ground beneath them has changed until it is too late. They may think they are luring you into battle, but it is you who leads them into terrain where their claws are dull and their poison powerless. And once you have mastered the ground, once every engagement unfolds on your terms, you begin to wield a far deadlier weapon: absence. For the next law reveals itself in silence. Starve them of attention. Now that you have learned not to confront directly and have gained control of the battlefield, you are ready for the third law. Understand this well. Toxic people feed not on truth, not on justice, but on attention. They are parasites of energy. Every sigh, every argument, every burst of anger feeds them. They thrive when you react. Your reaction tells them they have power, that they can disturb your peace and command your emotions. And once they taste this control, they will never stop. They will return again and again, feeding as a wolf feeds on a wounded prey until nothing remains. But imagine now you give them nothing, no spark, no fuel, no reaction. You take from them the one thing they crave most: your acknowledgement. What becomes of a fire when no wood feeds it? It does not rage. It fades, it dies. A toxic person may scream, slander, or scheme, but without your reaction, their words echo into the void. You must become deaf to their noise, blind to their gestures, untouchable to their provocations. To them, this is a punishment worse than battle. For war gives them meaning, indifference erases it. Remember what Machiavelli taught. The prince must never waste his resources on petty enemies, for attention elevates them. The same truth applies here. The moment you argue with a toxic person, you make them your equal. You pull yourself into a fight that should never exist. But when you deny them reaction, when you refuse even to acknowledge their existence, you reduce them to dust. You show them they are beneath notice, shadows that cannot reach the light. And this, more than any insult, is their greatest humiliation. Yet starving them of attention is not easy. Your pride will want to speak. Your anger will crave revenge. Your tongue will ache to strike back. But true power is not found in reaction. It is found in restraint. Every silence you keep builds your fortress. Every moment you refuse to engage strengthens your spirit. You are not fleeing the fight. You are denying it the privilege of existing. And by doing so, you preserve your energy, your peace, your control. While they destroy themselves in their own noise, you remain untouched. But indifference alone is not enough. For while you starve them, you must also shield yourself. A toxic person will seek cracks in your armor, secrets to exploit, emotions to weaponize. That is why the next law is essential. It is not enough to be silent and cold. You must also learn the art of disguise. You must conceal what you think, what you feel, and what you intend. Because once you master indifference, the fourth law commands you to master deception. Use masks, not truth. When silence has starved them and indifference has stripped them of power, the fourth law reveals itself. Never hand them your truth. For truth in the wrong hands is not virtue, it is a weapon. And once spoken, it belongs not to you, but to them. A toxic person will never honor your honesty. They will twist it, mock it, and use it against you. If you confess a weakness, they will strike it. If you reveal a fear, they will amplify it. If you open your heart, they will poison it. To deal with them, you must never stand naked in truth. You must always wear a mask. The world is filled with those who believe honesty is purity, who think that speaking from the heart will win respect, loyalty, or love. But Machiavelli taught that men are not angels. They are wolves, and wolves devour the unguarded lamb. If you live with pure honesty, then to a toxic person, you are not a friend, but a feast. To survive, you must master the art of concealment. Smile when needed, nod when required, even show agreement when it serves your purpose. But inside, reveal nothing. The mask is both your shield and your weapon. Do not see it as a lie, but as a tool. The mask allows you to control perception, to project strength when you are uncertain, calm when you are burning inside, indifference when you are calculating. A toxic person cannot fight what they cannot read. They search your face for emotion, for cracks, for weakness. But the mask gives them only what you decide, and in that decision lies true power. To reveal nothing is to rob them of control. To show them only what you wish is to command the battlefield of perception. Some may call it deception, but is it deceit to hide gold from a thief? Is it dishonesty to keep your blade hidden until the perfect strike? The mask is not betrayal, it is protection. You owe no truth to those who would twist it into poison. You owe yourself safety, and the mask is your armor. The wise wear many faces, the polite ally, the quiet listener, the harmless companion, but behind them all stands the calculating mind, unseen and untouchable. Let the toxic one attack the mask. They will exhaust themselves striking shadows, never realizing the real self stands untouched, patient, and watchful. Yet the mask is not only defense, it is also control. When you conceal your truth, you draw the toxic person into uncertainty. They no longer know your thoughts, your desires, your intentions. And uncertainty breeds fear. Fear makes them reckless. Fear makes them reveal themselves. In this confusion, they expose their true nature more clearly than ever before. And when they do, the mask becomes more than a shield. It becomes a trap. For the next law teaches how to strike without lifting your hand, how to let others and circumstances destroy the toxic one while you remain clean. This is the essence of the fifth law, to strike indirectly, to make others fight for you. A mask alone protects, but true power lies not only in defense. The fifth law unveils the most refined strength, to win without fighting, to destroy without striking, to let others cut down the toxic one while you remain untouched. Understand this. Direct conflict is costly. It drains your energy, your peace, your time. Even victory comes with loss. The true art of power is victory without battle. That is why you must master the indirect strike. Observe carefully. A toxic person cannot hide their arrogance, their lies, their hunger for praise. These traits are self-destructive weapons. Your task is only to create the conditions where their poison consumes them. Let their words contradict each other. Let them overpromise and fail. Let their cruelty show so clearly that others see them for what they are. And when the moment arrives, you step aside, and their own nature completes their downfall. But circumstances are not your only allies. People can be weapons too, if you know how to use them. Why battle the toxic person directly when others can do it for you? Their pride will offend someone stronger. Their deceit will expose them to sharper minds. Position yourself as the observer, never the target. When others rise against your enemy, you do nothing. You watch. You stay silent while they destroy themselves through the hands of others. This is the elegance of indirect power. Your hands remain clean, your name untarnished. No one can accuse you of treachery, for you never acted. No one can call you cruel, for you never struck. The toxic one is undone not by your sword, but by their own corruption, and by those who finally see through them. And when the dust clears, who remains untouched? You, for you have not fought, you have endured. And endurance is often the most devastating victory of all. History remembers such triumphs well. Machiavelli himself praised those who destroyed their enemies, not through blood, but through brilliance. To make others fight for you is not cowardice. It is mastery. The strongest rulers let factions destroy themselves while they remained the arbiter of peace. So must you learn this quiet art, see the toxic one not as an enemy to be crushed by your hand, but as a fool who will, when placed in the right conditions, topple by his own folly. When the world witnesses that fall, you stand free of blood, free of guilt, free of stain. Yet patience has its limit. There will be moments when elegant distance must yield to decisive action. Some poisons are too virulent to linger. Some parasites cannot be starved. They must be cut out. This is the sixth law, the coldest, the sharpest. There arrives a point where observation becomes paralysis and tolerance becomes poison. Watching, controlling the ground, starving, masking, and striking indirectly are tools of survival. But survival is not always the same as liberation. Sometimes endurance alone prolongs the wound. When that time comes, sever without warning. Hesitation is mercy to a venom that multiplies. A leader who falters in removing a threat invites chaos. A man who hesitates to sever toxic ties invites endless torment. There is one cure, decisive, complete, and without negotiation. Most people make the error of warning, explaining, lingering. They prepare the toxic one for departure, and in doing so give him room to manipulate. He will beg, threaten, slander, and sow doubt among others. Machiavelli taught the same lesson. A clean stroke is feared, respected, and irreversible. Delay invites retaliation, so when the hour has come, speak nothing. Just sever. Do not plead your case. Do not allow bargaining. End it as an executioner swings the blade, swift, merciless, and without remorse. This act is not cruelty, but clarity. A toxic person will not be reformed by argument. Every plea hands them another weapon. Every pause allows their roots to dig deeper into your life. Gutting is not punishment. It is preservation. It ends the contagion before it finishes you. Picture a surgeon who finds infection. He does not negotiate with disease. He removes it. Be equally clinical. If you must block, block. If you must walk away, vanish, and never look back. If you must sever a bond, make it absolute as though it never existed. Harsh, necessary, unambiguous. To hesitate is to remain enslaved. And when you cut, watch what happens. The one who once fed on your reaction and presence now faces the terror of absence. No audience, no stage, no fuel, only an echo that returns nothing. Decisive separation robs them not only of power over you, but of the illusion of control. Within that cold void you create, the final law reveals itself, the law that crowns them all. Power does not shout. Power does not plead. True victory over the toxic is silence itself. This is the seventh law, always win in silence. Great victories are not broadcast. They are lived. A toxic person craves your reaction. An argument proves they matter. A defense shows their blow landed. If you attempt to prove them wrong, you give them significance they do not deserve. But when you withdraw into silence, when you deny them even the dignity of acknowledgement, you suffocate them with the very void they cannot survive in. Silence is not emptiness. It is the most powerful declaration of indifference. This silence is not weakness. It is an active form of dominance. It is the refusal to descend into their chaos, the refusal to meet them on their terms. It is the cold announcement that they no longer exist in your world. You waste no breath on them because your existence itself speaks louder than any argument. Every triumph you achieve, every calm moment you own, every victory you claim is a blade through the heart of their illusion of control. They once believed they could disturb you, but your silence reveals the truth. They never mattered. And what greater defeat exists for those who live for attention? Consider how rulers end rebellions, not through debate, not through discussion, but by thriving beyond the noise. The rebel screams into the void, but the empire marches forward untouched. So must you. You must become like the empire, unshaken, indifferent to the cries of the weak. Silence is your fortress, and within its walls you are untouchable. While they rage, you rest. While they conspire, you create. While they rot in bitterness, you rise. In time, your life becomes the monument to their failure, a living proof of what they could never destroy, your focus, your strength, your peace. But silence is more than defense. It is a weapon of strategy. For when you speak nothing, you give them nothing. You leave them drowning in uncertainty. They cannot know if you watch, if you plan, if you care. That uncertainty becomes their torment. Their mind becomes their own poison. They imagine threats that do not exist. They invent enemies in shadows, while you remain unseen, untouched, and unbothered. Their fear grows not from your actions, but from your absence. In silence, you become vast, immeasurable, untouchable. Many waste their lives begging to be understood, pleading to be seen. But Machiavelli revealed the truth. Seeking understanding is surrender. Power is not found in being understood. It is found in being undeniable. You owe no explanation to the toxic. You owe no validation to those beneath your vision. Let your silence proclaim that you are beyond their reach, beyond their poison, beyond the prison of their manipulation. In that silence, you do not merely escape them, you transcend them. For silence is the cleanest victory. It leaves no blood, no wounds, no chains to bind you to their memory. It is the art of leaving without giving them the satisfaction of your rage. It is living in such peace that their shadow can no longer touch you. Once you grasp this truth, you will never again fear the toxic, for they cannot hold what no longer responds. You have starved them, disguised yourself, shifted the battlefield, struck with precision, cut them off, and now you rule in silence. But understand this, silence is not the end. It is the beginning of your true ascent. For when you learn to win in silence, you enter a realm where power transforms from survival into creation, where your life is no longer defined by what you endured, but by what you build beyond it. And so we return to the final truth. The world will never be free of the toxic. They will always exist, scheming, deceiving, feeding on envy. But you now hold the cold laws Machiavelli himself would honor. The strength to defeat them does not lie in kindness nor in mercy, but in clarity, precision, and ruthless discipline. Do not waste yourself trying to heal what was never your wound. Do not seek peace with those who live for conflict. Rise above them. Use their own nature to undo them. Cut off their reach. Deny them your reaction. When the moment comes, act without hesitation, without fear, without doubt. Remember, these toxic ones are not obstacles to your power. They are its proof. They are the forge that shapes your strength. To overcome them is to master yourself. To outthink them is to rise beyond the small games of the weak. And when you finally stand above them, untouched, calm, and whole, you embody what Machiavelli taught the world, that true power, once claimed through wisdom and cold resolve, can never be taken from you. So move forward. Do not be afraid. Do not be passive. Do not become the prey. Be the one who sees the mask, commands the board, and walks away untouched by poison. That is not survival. That is power. That is the Machiavellian way.